Walking into this craftsman home here on Beacon Hill, you might feel like you're meeting up at a good friend's house for dinner. From the warm smells to the familiar decor, everything here at Musang will make guests feel like longtime family friends.
Everything here is just so amazing.
These flavors are kind of remind me of home, my mom's cooking.
There's a ton of flavor in it. It's a lot of spices. They were saying it's kind of like the whole Filipino pantry.
The food's just amazing.
Owner and chef Melissa Miranda wanted to bring her patrons the full experience of being a guest in a Filipino home. Whether it's the art, the service, or the food, Musang is a love letter to Melissa's childhood. Even the name of the restaurant has a story.
So Musang means wild cat.
Okay.
My dad had a black Mustang.
Cool.
And then the T fell off, and so he became Musang. And his friends just called him that.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time cooking with him. He really instilled with me like the Filipino food and culture and the importance of it.
I mean, this area has a lot of history, especially with the Filipino American community. It's a really great opportunity to share our culture with the rest of the community.
The food actually reminds me of how my parents cook. In fact, my parents love the food at Musang, and that says a lot because my parents are very picky about their Filipino food.
Filipinos, when they first immigrated to Seattle, they've been here for a really long time, but Beacon Hill was a neighborhood that a lot of folks actually came and moved to. So I have a lot of memories coming here. I think that what it does for representation for our community is really what's the most important, and being able to hopefully be an example for like the next generation that there are people that look like me that can have success and do this too.
Stay tuned because later in the show, Chef Melissa and I are going to make a special Filipino soup called pinakbet.
I won't be able to mimic my mom or my grandma, but what I can do is at least try and, trigger a memory of nostalgia for them.
Do they ever like, okay, listen, this is not the way I did it.
We're back at Musang on Beacon Hill in Seattle. With such fresh and flavorful items on the menu, it's easy to fall in love with the Filipino culture of food that's so prevalent in the restaurant. When you're at Musang, you're part of something bigger than just food.
The place just feels very inviting and community-oriented.
It does feel like you're at a friend's house and they're just pulling the things out of their pantry.
Powerful flavors that kind of remind me of home.
We want the guests to experience like what it is to be in a Filipino home.
Okay.
Owner and chef Melissa Miranda knows that in order to make her food the way she remembers it, only the freshest ingredients make the cut.
A lot of the things that my parents had access to, we don't have access to here. Being able to take the flavor and the idea of what the Filipino food dish is, but then maybe adding a different veggie or whatever's in season. There are Filipino farmers that are working out of Eastern Washington, and so they really focus on planting and growing vegetables that Filipinos love.
Everything I've had has been so good.
If you're not familiar with Filipino food, I think Musang's the perfect place to try it.
It just feels like home.
So what are you and I gonna make today?
Oh, yes.
I'm excited.
We're actually gonna make a somewhat more traditional version of pinakbet. So we've got zucchini, okra, eggplant, a base in Filipino food called guisado.
Okay.
So garlic, onion, tomatoes.
I'm gonna get my vegetables today.
You're gonna get your vegetables
I love it.
today.
Okay, I'm excited.
It wouldn't be a Filipino dish if there wasn't garlic.
Okay.
So everything is based off of
Has to
garlic.
have garlic.
And then there's always onions and tomatoes. So
Okay.
this base is called guisado.
We started by cooking some garlic, then adding seasoning salts, onions, and tomatoes, and letting it cook down before adding a little water. Once that's cooked a bit, we add some pork belly and a special fermented shrimp paste.
It is called bagoong alamang.
Okay.
Alamang means shrimp.
Okay, yeah.
Growing up,
Smells just like you would expect it to.
Growing up, this was a smell that was
I
very
bet.
intense as a child.
Sure.
Whenever we'd have like a roast pig for like a family celebration, there'd be lots of leftover parts, and so then we'd throw that in this.
Oh, and it just makes it so much better.
Good. I won't be able to mimic my mom or my grandma, but what I can do is at least try and, trigger a memory of nostalgia for them. So whenever my parents or my grandparents come, it's always like,
Yes.
I hope they like it.
Do they ever like, okay, listen. This is not the way I did it.
So actually, this dish is on our menu currently.
Yeah.
But it's completely different. My aunts from LA came by like a month ago, and they were like, I've never seen peanut bet like this, but it tastes like peanut
So
bet.
Finally, we add some okra, eggplant, zucchini, and a squash puree. Once it's cooked, we top it off with some pickled bitter melon.
This is a hard soup to eat with a spoon, though. You kind of need a
Little
fork
bit of
and
fork
a spoon.
and a spoon. Right.
This is so beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, it looks like springtime.
all the colors.
It is. It's gorgeous. I'm not going to be very dainty when I eat this, I don't think. Oh, yeah. That's all we can say is
Oh, that's really good.
it is really
I think
good.
my grandma would be proud.
Loaded with vegetables, but you have that nice pork belly that gives it
A little
you
richness,
know, yeah.
and then the fermented shrimp for
Right.
a little bit of umami. And like all of it together just makes sense. And the
Like each
veggies
bite
are-
can be a little bit different.
right, and the veggies are still crunchy.
To get the recipe for Musong's peanut bet, visit wogrown.com.